So, what caused the French Revolution? Really, it all boils down to some questions that we're almost still asking. Who has the right to make decisions for individuals? So, the French Revolution, uh, it all started when people, at first, it was a very traditional kind of society. The people listened to the church, the people listened to the king. But all of a sudden, when philosophy started to be introduced, people were like leaving the church and going towards more like a reason-based approach. So this was very different. Now understand, back in France's history, there were three main estates. There was the king, King Louis XVI. There was like the noblemen as well as the church, and then there were the peasants. Now, all three of these sections had equal voting rights, despite the fact that the peasants actually, like that group, had 98% of the population. So, meanwhile, while people are leaving the church and starting to think about other ways of thinking, this is happening at the same time that France is actually supporting the American Revolution. And so because of that, they're spending a lot of money. And so understand about the three estates. The third estate, the peasant-filled estate, is the only one that pays taxes. And they pay taxes to the other two estates. So when France was spending all this money and starting to go into debt because they're supporting the American war, the peasants had to pay more taxes, but they don't have any, and so in times where maybe there was failures with crops, things like that, it would leave the peasants with virtually nothing. So, this created financial strain. So what the king did was he appointed a financial consultant type person, and this person decided it would be best to announce France's public financial records to the public, and let them know their decisions and what was going on. The other noble people didn't agree with this, and so I think it reflected really badly on the king. So amidst all this chaos, people started revolting. They decided, we can't do this anymore. So this led to the storming of the Bastille. And that was kind of like a symbol of power and wealth, and it had all these weapons and things. And so peasants and farmers, these lower class people, started banding together. They stormed the Bastille, and so noblemen started leaving, and they were going to other places and asking people, other areas, for help, oh, please help us control this situation. The peasants are getting out of hand. They're revolting. And so eventually the king himself tried to escape, but he was found and he was executed. And it was kind of like the end of this long reign. And actually it all happened because he had finally called together a meeting of these three branches, before the storming of the Bastille. And so it created chaos. So really elaborate, interconnected history of how the French Revolution really started. And so it ended up being, there would be one person in power, there would be revolting, there would be a monarch in power, revolting, monarch, revolting, until eventually they had their system in place. So that is what caused the French Revolution.